Welcome to King 5. I'm Greg Copeland. This is The Week, a look at what made headlines in our region, along with your weekend forecast. New video shows the moments a man slashed a Bellevue police officer in the face before another officer shot him at a transit center. A warning here, some of you may find parts of this video disturbing. King 5's Jim Nelson covered this story when it happened in December. He reports from the transit center with that new body cam footage.
A seemingly routine call.
Are you the one that called about the DV that happened right now?
The TV?
No, DV. Domestic. And are people arguing?
Yes.
That quickly went south.
You said to dispatch you saw two people arguing. Okay, let's get to that first and then we go to the second part.
Yeah, so that was happening over.
Hey! Shot fire! Shot fire!
Independent King County investigators say that guy called police to the Bellevue Transit Center on December 12th. As the video shows, he lunged at a Bellevue officer with a knife and slashed another in the face before the initial officer shot the suspect.
I'm stabbed in the head. I'm stabbed in the head. I'm losing feeling in my right arm.
Other officers rushed in.
Shot fire! Shot fire!
Lay on your stomach! Lay on your stomach now! Lay on your stomach so we can help you. You understand?
The injured officer and the suspect, Mohammed Bangura, were both taken to the hospital but survived. After the shooting, the officer who fired his gun was pushed away from the scene.
Tag out for a second.
Guillermo, fire. Do not move! Don't move! Do not move!
Hey,
Am I hurt? Can you
will you take him? Check him.
Can you check me?
And a few minutes later, the situation appeared to sink in.
Are you okay?
Hey man, he hit Sean, bro. God. Sean's bleeding, bro. Okay. Yep. Sean's bleeding, bro.
Come on.
Hey, dude.
I know. Come on.
Jim Nelson reporting there. Separate body cam video shows a chaotic exchange of gunfire between Seattle police and a suspect in Ballard, just steps away from Adams Elementary School. King 5 Savannah Welch has more on that one.
Prosecutors say 62-year-old Christopher Bowman opened fire on 3 Seattle police officers after his 18-year-old ex-girlfriend ran into a nearby QFC and called 911, saying he was following her and likely armed. Seattle police shared that call with us on Sunday. Take a listen.
And he's following you right now?
Yeah, he was just following me. I ran into the QFC, and I don't know if he's in here, but
okay.
But he has a weapon on him. It's like a pistol. It's always in his waistband.
Officers arrived and searched the area near 28th Avenue Northwest and Northwest 62nd Street. Here's what happened when officers located Bowman. A warning, though, this may be difficult for some to watch.
This is gonna be our guy. He's coming back southbound. He's got it right in his pocket.
Yeah, please get your hands. Hey, hold your fire, man.
Taking a closer look at the body cam video, police confront Bowman and tell him to take his hands out of his pockets. Investigators say he appeared to pull out an object and point it at the officers, leading them to open fire. One officer was grazed in the leg by a bullet and treated and released. Police say a gun was recovered at the scene. Court documents show Bowman also had an active warrant out of Kansas for rape, aggravated kidnapping, aggravated robbery, and firearm possession. He now faces first and second degree assault charges. He remains hospitalized in critical condition with bail set at $3 million. Police say the 18-year-old woman who called police from that QFC was not injured, thankfully. Also, no one in the area, no one here at Adams Elementary, or no neighbors were injured during the shooting either. In Ballard, Savannah Welch, King 5 News.
We've learned deputies responded at least 2 times last year to a Maple Valley home where 10 kids were found last week living in deplorable conditions. They were removed by the state. King 5's Connor Board has the latest from Maple Valley.
A criminal investigation is underway at this isolated Maple Valley home. Child Protective Services removed 10 kids from the home last week, ranging from 1 to 10 years old. 4 families live here.
All the children had their, I believe it was their mothers there. And so they were notified that CPS was taking the children.
King County Sheriff's Office deputies were called to the home Thursday night after a 47-year-old woman died from a medical issue. Deputies say they found the children malnourished and sick, with rotten food throughout the home and a strong odor of raw sewage and animal waste, as well as potential fire hazards. DCYF said deputies suspected child abuse and neglect. The home is a known problem to neighbors.
3 or 4 years, this has been a continuing thing, and I know the police have been down there numerous times.
It's also known to the sheriff's office. They say they've received complaints for suspicious activity, burning, noise, and more serious issues. In April, deputies recovered multiple stolen cars from the property, but their search warrant was only for the exterior, so deputies never went inside. In May, a man driving a stolen car was arrested at the home after he attempted to pull into the property for a looting and hit and run. Before last week, deputies didn't know there were young children in the home. We've also learned the home's been cited for unsafe conditions. In October, King County Code Enforcement Order described a list of violations: non-functioning plumbing, a pipe discharging wastewater into a wetland area, and accumulating salvage materials and scrap metal.
Well, a bill that would tax Washington residents earning more than $1 million a year is moving forward, but Governor Bob Ferguson says it's not there just yet. The governor says he won't sign it until changes are made. Olympia Bureau Chief Drew Mickelson reports from outside the Capitol as that debate intensifies.
Governor Bob Ferguson supports this idea of an income tax on those who make more than $1 million a year, but he says the Senate version just didn't have enough tax breaks. So now as it heads to the House, he's offering up some suggestions if legislators want to get his signature.
I've said multiple times that any bill I sign must send a significant percentage of the revenue back to Washington families and small business owners. We are not there yet, and we are still not close to being there.
For Governor Bob Ferguson to sign an income tax into law, he says he needs to see more tax breaks along with it. He's suggesting eliminating the sales tax on diapers, creating 5 sales tax holidays in the state. He wants more rebates for low-income residents and tax cuts for small businesses.
We need to go much bigger to assist small business owners who help power our economy and create jobs. We should use $1 billion of this new revenue to give small business owners a significant, and that's an understatement, tax break.
Our priorities are all screwed up, Mr. President.
Nothing will get Republicans to back the income tax on those who make more than $1 million a year. Senate Republicans failed to kill it Monday, and now it heads for another fight in the House.
Of course, our goal over here in the House is that that bill dies in the House this year, and we'll do everything that we can to stop it.
If there's an appetite to change a quote-unquote regressive tax system, you cut taxes for the people who can least afford it. You don't just keep adding taxes and layering them on.
While Governor Ferguson has his concerns, he expects the legislature to get him a bill he can sign.
I remain optimistic that we'll get this millionaire's tax done. Of course, it's not a guarantee. It's complicated. There's a lot going on, but there's a lot of effort going into it. And while we may not be exactly on the same page yet on some key details, I think there's still plenty of time.
The session ends on March 12th, just over 3.5 weeks away. There's a lot of concern that this income tax may eventually be expanded to impact those who make less than $1 million a year. But Governor Bob Ferguson made it clear he will not sign a bill that allows it to go below that threshold. In Olympia, Drew Mickelson, King 5 News.
When we come back, a young Seahawks fan loses his autographed football during the Super Bowl parade. What happened next turns into a championship-level surprise. But first, meteorologist Adam Claybon has a look at the weekend forecast right after this.
All right, everyone, meteorologist Adam Claybon here with you as we get ready to head into what's going to be the last full weekend of February. The following Sunday, that'll be March the 1st. But did want to get into not only just what we were going to be expecting here as we head into the weekend, but how we could still see active weather heading on into next work week as well. We had quite a few rounds of rain and snow in a few spots here as we made our way through the week. So let's go ahead and talk about how things will be shaping up for the weekend. You can see as we head on into the next 2 to 3 days, we still have that chance around. I think more so Saturday is our only chance, and that will be generally during the morning hours. By the late morning and into the afternoon, all in the form of rain for us here in the lowlands, and we'll keep those chances around for Sunday as well, where it looks like we're going to keep those showers in place even as we head on into Monday. You can see the air mass too beginning to modify, getting back up into more of the low 50s for highs. So warmer days are ahead of us and more wet days as well, and we'll be seeing mountain snow at the same time as we continue to deal with rain here in the lowlands, but still cold enough that we'll have to keep an eye out for that rain and snow mix early into Saturday morning. Once we get beyond that point, the air mass definitely not going to support that for us, but we do expect to see the mountain snow pile up, especially once we head on into maybe Sunday night into Monday, possibly Tuesday too. And we'll continue to see some systems move on through as we head on into later next week as well. So radar. As we go throughout the evening, we're going to continue to see those showers move up from the south. And this is what's going to help to bring in that next round early into your Saturday morning. Now that moves up into our area as we go throughout more of Saturday morning and throughout the afternoon too, but it's really more so into Saturday morning that we're keeping an eye out for that rain and snow mix. And you kind of see that coming together as we head just before the sunrise hour here heading into Saturday morning. We'll see that continue to make its way northward, primarily for spots closer to Hood Canal. I think will be your better chances. More around southwest interior too, so won't be as widespread as earlier into the week. And I think for areas closer to Puget Sound, we're not talking about a whole lot really happening for us in terms of rain and snow into tomorrow morning. And then we're really going to see a lot more of just the rain as we head into tomorrow afternoon. It'll be quite a wet day, not a soaker, but definitely quite long periods of more of those showers moving on through. And then we'll get a break into the first part of Saturday night, then more rain to come as we head on into more of the day on Sunday, and we'll keep things pretty active as we head on into more the following work week as well. All right, so talking about all of that, what are we expecting rainfall-wise with this? We'll see those amounts anywhere between about maybe, I would say, a half an inch to an inch for many spots as we go throughout the weekend here from parts of Puget Sound all the way up towards the Canadian border. Off towards the west, however, the Olympic Peninsula, that's where we can see some of those higher totals, anywhere from an inch up to about possibly 2 inches of rain could be ahead for us at that point. And all of this kind of with the same pattern. You can kind of see now that the system is coming in and bringing moisture from the southwest out of the Pacific. So that's what's going to help with bringing up the snow levels to a certain degree, but still keeping them pretty close to the past level. So we're still going to put some snow down around areas, especially around Stevens Pass and White Pass. Snoqualmie Pass, we could see a little mixing, but again, we'll keep things cold enough that at least we'll have some of that around. And then we start to switch things up a little more as we head into the second half of next work week, Wednesday into Thursday, as we get a little more of that northwesterly pattern coming back, helping to introduce a bit more of a higher chance of maybe seeing some good totals of snow out of that. So from here until about Monday evening, amounts anywhere between about a half a foot to a foot, maybe some higher spots down that way around Paradise as we get a little more moisture there. And then we continue on. There could be an additional foot to maybe a foot and a half of snow ahead as we head on into the end of next week. Forecast as we head on into more of early Saturday morning, calling for highs to be generally around the lower to mid 30s. So this is going to be that chilly air mass that helps support that rain and snow mix. And then once we head on into your Saturday afternoon, mid 40s around for Blaine, 45 for a high in Orcas Island. We'll top off at about 45 in Mount Vernon, 45 around Everett, 45 in Monroe. We'll see highs in the mid-40s around Redmond and in Issaquah. 43 in Bremerton. Low 40s around Paulsbo. Auburn getting up to 46 degrees. The mid-40s around Tacoma. Belfair up to 41 degrees. We'll see highs farther south across the state in the mid-40s from Centralia down to Longview. Morton getting up to 42. Ocean Park up to 47 degrees. Mid-40s around Forks. 42 in Neah Bay. And Quilcene topping off at 42 degrees. Here's your 7-day forecast. Calling for that rain snow mix early tomorrow morning. Could be some minor accumulations in those spots that do see a bit more of that mixture, or maybe just plain snow for a little while, up to maybe an inch or two, so not a whole lot, and it does melt as we go later on into the day on Saturday. And then we're just talking about plain old rain as we head later on into the week. But for your skiers and snowboarders, those of you excited at least to get a little more snow up across the mountains, it looks like the next few days will be working in our favor. All right, enjoy your weekend, everyone, and take care.
Welcome back to the week. The man accused of causing a deadly multi-car crash in Federal Way faces multiple charges, including vehicular homicide. That crash killed a beloved father and husband and injured 2 other people. King 5's Bridget Chavez explains what happened in court this week.
The crash happened in seconds.
We never expected this to come.
But the impact will last forever.
It just doesn't seem real right now that he's gone.
Vitaly Ciambelli was stopped at a red light just minutes from home Sunday morning when police say another driver slammed into his car. The crash triggered a fiery chain reaction involving 4 vehicles. Prosecutors allege the suspect had been drinking and speeding. 45-year-old Ciambelli died at the scene. His family still in disbelief.
Like you expect, for him just to open the door.
Ciambelli was a Boeing employee at the Everett factory.
Sadly, he was 1 week away from finishing his master's degree in engineering.
He leaves behind a large family, including a wife and 2 daughters.
He was like my second dad. I'd say one of my best friends.
In court today, the suspect waived his first appearance. A judge found probable cause on investigation of vehicular homicide and assault, setting bail at $150,000. We are not naming him because he hasn't been charged yet.
Even though we forgive him because that's what we are taught to forgive, there's still consequences that need to be carried out for his actions and how much people he affected and how he took away a person that meant a lot.
The family says they want people to remember him for his service to others.
Seeing how many people contributed to his GoFundMe, how much people loved him, cared about him, is just, they're returning that love that they received from him.
And his contagious smile.
Every photo, every selfie that he took, he just had a very big smile, teeth showing. That was who he was.
Well, dozens of farmers who sell the famous Pike Place Market flowers are worried their businesses could go under. Massive flooding in December ruined hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of crops and equipment. As King 5 photojournalist Rachel Kim shows us, many of those businesses are owned by Hmong families, refugees who rely on farming for the world-famous market for survival.
We are expecting high water to return today. The Snohomish River could crest at a record high level in the coming days.
Pretty hopeless and helpless. I know that there's not much I can do because the water level is already reaching the shed and greenhouse and coming at a fast pace.
If you see the trash can, the black crepe, that's how high the water level was.
My name is Short Chain, and I'm one of the Hmong flower farmers at Pike Place Market. On December 11th, around 1 p.m., I was selling flower at Pike Place Market. My husband's brother called and said that the flood was already at a very high level. I was shocked and panicked a little bit. So if you see, if we pull out here, usually these tuber, if they're in water for too long, they rot like this. The most flower that was affected by the flood would be our irises. Our money plant are also completely destroyed.
It's a 50-50 chance for these to come back.
For expense for tulips, we spend about $15,000. It would be $30,000, including like our sheds, our greenhouses, and our tractor.
Newer farmers that have not inherited land oftentimes don't have land in prime farmland, but instead on smaller parcels, oftentimes near waterways where there's higher risk of flooding.
Some tulips are in water for a couple of days, and so we don't know the extent of the damage is done on the tulips. We'll have to wait and see.
Hmong farmers first came to the market in the early 80s through the Indo-Chinese Farm Project. This was a collaboration between King County, Pike Place Market, and Washington State University. They provided resources like farmland and a place to sell for the Hmong people to continue farming.
We came to the United States as a refugee in 1994. My family, they were poor. My mom, she could farm and make a little bit to support the family.
The Washington climate is very good for growing flowers. They're easier to sell, they're easier to grow.
We started selling flower at Pike Place Market since 2014, so that's about 12 years. Our flower business is our only form of income. There is 12 people that rely on this business. The flood destroyed a lot of the flowers that were already planted, and we don't have any flower to sell for this season.
Oh, that's so big.
Climate change is increasing flood risk for farms in Western Washington, with more of our precipitation falling as rainfall, more snowpack melt with warmer average winters, and with that increased flooding.
There's about 85 farm businesses that are permitted to sell at the market. About 40 of those are Hmong farmers. The visitors aren't seeing the full experience of what the market is if the farmers aren't here. The Pike Place Market is first and foremost a farmer's market, and without the farmers, what is it?
The reason I took over my parent business is because my parent, they spent their whole life building this business, and I feel like it's going to be a waste to throw away everything they built, and so I want to keep this going for them. Yeah, it feels like a family legacy passed down from one generation to another.
Well, what began as a simple construction project quickly turned into a dangerous situation in Seattle's Queen Anne neighborhood. A fire ignited by a crane left the operator trapped for hours. Neighbors were then forced to evacuate. King 5's Christian Balderas breaks down what happened.
People who were evacuated were waiting out here all day in the cold. Some even left, planning to stay elsewhere tonight, anticipating that this fire would continue all day.
I've never seen anything like this in the 55 years I've lived on Queen Anne Hill.
Outside apartment windows, a man was stuck in a cherry picker with flames below for hours.
I heard a boom at 9 o'clock, and then all of the lights went out.
The contractor accidentally hit overhead power lines while trying to replace a window. That sent electricity down into the lift and caught the vehicle on fire. It spread to a natural gas line directly below.
The primary danger is the fact that natural gas is still continuing to feed the fire.
Several apartments had to evacuate.
They let us know that it was more than just a simple fire.
This guy saved his guitar.
It has a sentimental value to me, and if I were to save one thing, it would be this.
Several roads, including a part of busy Queen Anne Avenue North, shut down.
I want to know who's accountable for this and what are they going to do about that.
Amid the rain, hail, and frigid cold, firefighters sprayed biodegradable foam everywhere.
We have Sumatra, which is like a medium dark roast.
A barista was handing out coffee.
We had customers coming in and telling us about it, people without coats and like in their pajamas walking up the street. Yeah, looking for a place warm to be.
Firefighters doused water on the fire for hours.
It's a very unique set of circumstances.
As crews broke ground and worked to shut off the gas.
It's the first of its kind that I've seen in the 7 years that I've been with the fire department.
The fire department was anticipating that this would cause a traffic headache for people getting off of work and driving back home, but right now it appears that traffic is flowing and a lot of the roads have reopened in Queen Anne. In Seattle, I'm Christian Balderas, King 5 News.
Super Bowl champs for sale. After weeks of speculation, the Seahawks made it official. The timing may seem a bit unusual, but the sale has long been in the works as part of Paul Allen's final wishes. King 5's Farah Jadran reports.
So far, it's mainly just rumors or hopes among 12s and social media comments about who they think will buy the team. And keep in mind, it is an $8 to $10 billion price tag, and it was bought for $200 million by the Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen back in 1997. And his sister Jody took over after his death in 2018. And we can't emphasize enough how red hot the Seahawks are. They might be repping blue and green, but they're red hot. We're just more than a week fresh from that huge Super Bowl 60 parade and celebration that rocked the city of Seattle and really brought everyone together. Now, we do know that fans are concerned about this, but also according to Seattle University Sport and Entertainment Management Program, the age of Lumen Field could play a factor in the new owner's plans.
A lot can change in 5 years. And the biggest trend we've seen in professional sports is this move into having these entertainment complexes that are on the outskirts of cities and not necessarily in the cities proper. And so you can't kind of rule it out.
That'd be really sad if they sold the team and it went somewhere else, but I have a hard time believing that would actually happen because there's so much culture and love for the city of Seattle.
Now, the process of the sale has just gotten underway, and the estate for Paul Allen has made a directive that any proceeds are used for philanthropy efforts. The Seahawks lease here at Lumen Field does expire in 2032, and it will be among the 12 oldest stadiums across the NFL, and it is near the bottom across the league when it comes to the number of suites available on a game day. In Seattle, Farah Jadrin, King 5 News.
A young Seahawks fan thought his Super Bowl memory was gone for good after his autographed football slipped away during the team's Super Bowl victory parade. But the Seahawks made sure the story had a championship ending. King 5's Brady Wakayama shows how one lost ball turned into a big-time Seahawks surprise.
This story just did a 180. Like, it started with like the saddest face ever, and you know, when your kid hurts, you hurt.
Hurt now turned
to like something that he'll never forget.
After a game of catch, this young fan will hold on to forever.
That was like crazy. I thought he was just gonna do the ball, but he was like, "You want your jersey too?" How about them Hawks, baby?
8-year-old Antonio Rodriguez Jr. thought he'd lost a piece of the Seahawks for good. Last Wednesday, an autographed football signed by defensive back Josh Jobe and other players slipped away during the chaos of the Super Bowl parade.
Keep that one safe.
Now, a week later, from heartbreak to the ultimate Seahawks surprise, Antonio and his family got to hang out with Jobe at the VMAC.
To see it go from him being upset to him being able to meet one of his heroes and the Seahawks turning this whole thing into something beautiful, it's a beautiful thing.
For many fans, the second Super Bowl title feels like redemption. But for the Rodriguez family, this was the redemption story.
It's just so much better than the other one, because I have this and this.
It's a storybook ending.
Better than Disneyland.
You heard that right. He said it's better than going to
Disneyland.
A line only a 12 could deliver straight from the heart.
Thank you so much for doing that with me, and Seahawks, keep winning the Super Bowl.
Reporting for King 5 News, I'm Brady Wakayama.
That is a memory he will have for a lifetime. Thanks for your time. We hope you enjoyed a look at the biggest stories of the week.